Hi everyone, I'm Katrina and today I'm going to be talking about all of the books that I DNF'd or did not finish. This video has been a long time coming. I've been holding off talking about the books that I've DNF'd because I wasn't letting myself admit to myself that I was DNFing these books because I was like, no, I'm still reading them, but it's just been way too long since I've read any of these that I've forgotten what is happening and there's no way I could pick it up from where I stopped. I'd have to start from the beginning of the books. I'm finally acknowledging that I'm giving up for now in some cases. Now with the books that I'm mentioning in this video, just because I DNF'd them, it doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't good books or I didn't enjoy them. I do have a couple of books that I intentionally closed and decided not to read again because I didn't enjoy them, but for the most part, a lot of the books that I'm going to be mentioning are ones that I wasn't able to finish for one reason or another, but maybe sometime in the future I will pick them back up again. Maybe, maybe not. I guess time will tell. I think that in this case, I'm going to start with the bad news first and talk about the books that I DNF'd because I wasn't enjoying them. And that means we can finish on a bit of a lighter note. First of all, we have a book that is quite popular, but I could not finish. And that is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. Yes, I know. I'm one of the people that didn't enjoy this book. I probably read about half of it and really struggled. And then I tried skimming some, but I wasn't able to do it. Eventually, I just gave up, read the last couple of pages, and said no more. I also ended up putting down You by Austen Grossman. I got through about half of the book, but at that point the story was progressing quite slowly, so there wasn't too much happening. I wasn't drawn into the characters, I wasn't drawn into the story. I think on the whole I probably just wasn't the right audience for this book. There was a lot of terminology and speak that I didn't understand to do with gaming and the industry. The next few books that I'm going to be talking about are all university readings that I didn't end up finishing because I only had a certain amount of time to read them before I had to start the next book that we'd be studying, and I didn't end up finishing it in time. We have The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf, and I have no idea where my copy of this one went. It's somewhere, possibly, but in the move I've just put it somewhere silly, I think. This is a non-fiction book. I was quite enjoying it for the most part. It was a slower read, but I was really fascinated, but I just ran out of time with this one. And one thing that I did find out when we were studying it is that some of the statistics that are included, some of them are apparently made up, so that puts into question the validity of a lot of the things in it, but at the same time it was still really interesting, so might pick it up one day. I also have A History of the World in 10.5 Chapters by Julian Barnes. This was a very interesting book. Each chapter is from a different perspective. It follows a completely different story in different points of time and place. It's also written in different styles as well. I had to kind of skim through some of the short stories, or at least I'd start them and then not finish them. Some of them I enjoyed, some of them not so much, so this was kind of a hard one to continue reading after the fact just because it's a bit of a mixed bag. I also ran out of time reading Reading Women by Stephanie Stahl. I did not get very far into this one at all. I think I got, 64 pages and then time ran away. Didn't mind what I read, but again, just no real inclination to continue. The last one that I have is The Eyre Affair by Jasper Fforde. This is one that I didn't like as much as I was hoping to. I was expecting to absolutely love this book, but I was a little bit underwhelmed when reading it. I'm not sure if it was partly because I was studying it or if I was just having trouble reading at that time, because when reading this one, I was only really able to read really small chunks of it at a time. I could never find enough time to read a big portion of it, so I was kind of reading here and there, and I feel like my reading was really disjointed. So this is one that I do hope to read again in the future, just without the pressure of essays and university. Now moving on to the last three books, these are ones that I do intend on reading at some point in the future, but because it's been so long, I'm going to have to start all the way from the beginning again, and that's a little bit daunting because they're all pretty chunky books. The first one is American Gods by Neil Gaiman. So this is a book that I started back in 2015. Very interesting concept. I was really drawn to the plot. I love Neil Gaiman's writing style, really intrigued by the characters, but I think with this one, just the timing, I fell into a bit of a reading slump. I also have Clockwork Prince by Cassandra Clare. I tried picking this book up because I thought I was on the tail end of my reading slump and it would help bring me out of it, but it didn't end up doing that, sadly. I think it was just taking me a little too long to really get into the story and connect with the characters again, so I ended up putting it down and I haven't picked it up since. I definitely intend on finishing this series, don't get me wrong. The final book that I'm going to be talking about is Cloud Atlas by David Mitchell. This is one of the books that my book club was reading, and I didn't end up finishing this in time. I'm actually not sure if many people did end up finishing the book. I think quite a few people were struggling with this one, and they ended up giving up and then moving on to a different book. So I didn't feel too guilty not finishing it. But at this point, this is one that you have to dedicate a lot of time to, and I was reading it in really small chunks, so it was hard to follow along with everything that was happening because of so many different perspectives and a really complex storyline. So I ended up putting this book down when I got to one chapter, which is set in the future, and it was just quite odd. I wasn't expecting it, so I think I was just put off a little bit. So I put it down, and yeah, I'll give it another try one day. So those are all of the books that I DNF'd. That is everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And don't forget, I post a video every Tuesday and Friday, so I will see you very soon. Bye!